This is the Financially Simple Podcast, a show dedicated to destroying the complexities of money for today's small business owner. And now, here's your host, pizza-loving, certified financial planner, Justin Goodbread.
Welcome to Financially Simple. I'm your host, Justin Goodbread, and today we're going to deal with leadership, and specifically I want to deal with the personal qualities of a leader. Perhaps there's no other book that I love to turn to when it comes to leadership than John Maxwell's book, The 21 Indispensable Qualities of a Leader. John has a subtitle underneath there that says, Becoming the Person Others Will Want to Follow. Now, if you've never read this book, I've got to tell you, it's in my top 10 books that a business owner should read. To me, it is a powerful book. So today, I'm going to use those 21 qualities. I'm not telling you not to read the book. These are John Maxwell's 21 qualities, but I want to bring some things out that can help us. We deal with who a leader is, what a leader does, and today I want to deal with the qualities, and then we're going to talk about how leadership can add value. So I want to lay that foundation. So today, I want to begin with this quote. John said, "If you can become the leader you ought to be on the inside, you'll be able to become the person you want to be on the outside. People will want to follow you. And when that happens, you will be able to tackle anything in this world." See, friends, it begins on the inside. Leadership is all about knowing who you are, what makes you tick. And if you know who you are, then people want to follow a genuine individual. They don't want to follow a fake. That's not who we're after. So there are 21 irrefutable characteristics of a leader. And the number one is character. Bernard Montgomery, who was a British field marshal, said, "Leadership is the capacity and will to rally men and women to a common purpose and the character which inspires confidence." That's what leadership is. It is capacity and will to rally men and women to a common purpose. See, you must know some things about character. You must know these things. And John brings some of these out. Some of them he doesn't bring out as action. But actions are the real indicator of a character. Have you ever noticed whenever you ask somebody to do something, they say they're going to do it, and they don't? What do you think about that person's character? I'm teaching my little boys how to be men. I want them to be good American citizens. I want them to be leaders for their generation. And I'm trying to teach them, son, if you look a man in the eye and you tell them something, look at a woman in the eye and you give them your word, you better do it because that's your character. See, actions, when you tell somebody you're going to do something and you do it, that's an action. And that's an indicator of character. See, everybody has a little bit of talent. We all have a gift. We all have our various talents. But every person listening to this episode and every person who walks this planet has the choice of a solid character. That character that you can do what's right when no one else is looking at you. That is a choice. Character brings lasting success to people. If you don't have character, then you don't even have a foundation on which to build success. As my daddy said when I left high school, I may have even said this before, he said, "Son, you're Goodbread." That's a name not many people will ever recognize. Once you do something right, just remember it's your Goodbread name. Forever it's going to follow you. You are who you are. Don't ever forget it. Man, I've never forgotten that. And that's driven me to do some things that where I do today, and it's also prevented me from making some bad decisions. Another irrefutable evidence of a leader is charisma. The first impression often seals the deal. Dan Ryland, who is the Vice President of Leadership Development at Enjoy, said, "How can you have charisma? Be more concerned about making others feel good about themselves than you are about making them feel good about you." I got to tell you, man, I get so aggravated with the me monster. Brian Regan's a comedian. I love watching his show. He gets some funny things talking about your moon rover and all that. He calls it the me monster, and he does this little crazy thing with his hand. I get so aggravated with the me monster. I see it often because people always want to talk about themselves. It's like, let's talk about somebody else. John Maxwell said, when it comes to charisma, the bottom line is other-mindedness. And that's an unword where he's put two words together. So the bottom line is other-mindedness. Leaders who think about others and their concerns before thinking of themselves exhibit charisma. How are you? Are you charismatic? Number 3 is commitment. It separates doers from dreamers. He said to the boxer, it's getting off the mat one more time after you've been knocked down. to us business owners is getting off the mat one more time if you've been knocked down. Tell you what, business sometimes feels like a boxing event, doesn't it? To the marathon runner, it's about running another 10 miles when you're done. I got to tell you, I'm not a marathon runner. I did do the triathlon. I smelled pizza. I gave up. Maybe I wasn't committed. I can tell you I wasn't committed. I was committed to eating some pizza. To the soldier, it's about going over another hill, not knowing what's on the other side. And to the leader, it's all that and more, because everyone that you and I lead depends on us. Are you committed? Are you committed to the organization or to yourself? See, in order to improve your commitment, look how you spend time and look at where you're committing your time to. You say, Justin, I'm committed to my wife. Whenever you're with your wife, are you really there? Whenever you're with your family, are you really there? Whenever you're at work, are you really there? I heard this old saying years ago, it said, wherever you are, be there. It sounds simple, but it's hard to do sometimes, isn't it? What's worth dying for you? Do you know what's worth dying for? Maybe not physically dying for, but metaphorically dying for. What are some things that you're just not going to give up? To me, one of them is honesty. One of them is my character. I'm not giving up my character. I work in a business with rules. There's lots of rules. And there's so many rules sometimes I don't think the rule makers knows how many rules there are. But if it's a rule, you follow the rules. I get so frustrated whenever people bend the rules in sporting games. We were at our church and the youth leaders were doing something and they kept changing the rules. And I finally said, I quit. I can't do this. You guys, the minute we even know the rules, you change them on us. And I can't deal with that. What's worth dying for you? What do you say? You know what? Come hell or high water, I'm not changing. This is my ethos. I am not giving up my core belief. I'm committed to who I am. You can practice the Edison method and you make your plans public. Then you might go further than you ever thought. What are your plans? What are you trying to commit to? Tell somebody about it. See if you can get a partner to help you. Communication. Without it, you'll travel along. You've got to simplify your message. We dealt with this last time. Jack Welch, he was known for saying, simplify the message. You have to. You've got to really care about your audience. You have to know who your team members are, your customers are. You've got to care about them, and you've got to be truthful. You've got to believe what you say. You've got to live what you say, and you've got to seek a response. Everything you do in your business has to have a response dedicated to it. The goal of all communication is action. You're trying to get a response. That is the goal. Gilbert Amelio said, developing excellent communication skills is absolutely essential to effective leadership. The leader must be able to share knowledge and ideas to transmit a sense of urgency and enthusiasm to others. If a leader can't get his message across clearly to motivate others to act on it, then having the message doesn't matter. We've all seen the show. We've all seen a movie type to where somebody has a life-saving message that they have to get to somebody. They have to get it to them. And they do everything within their power to get that message to somebody. I've seen shows on TV where the message is strapped to a dog and the dog swims mighty rivers and runs just crazy amounts of length to get a message to somebody. Because if you cannot clearly communicate the message, if you can't get the message to the people who are able to make choices with the information, then having the message doesn't matter. The fifth thing that John Maxwell deals with is competence. Competence. If you build it, they'll come. John Maxwell said, competence goes beyond words. It's a leader's ability to say it, plan it, and do it in such a way that others know that you know how and know that they want to follow you. I've been asked many times in various interviews, how in the world, Justin, before the age of 30, did you become successful in the world of finance? That's an anomaly. Here I am now, almost 40. I've been doing this for almost, forever. It seems like 15, 18 years, somewhere. I don't remember. Anyways, I've been doing this a long time. And before the age of 40, I'll sit down with people in their 50s and 60s. I was talking with somebody this last week, worth about $400 million, wants to hire me to do some stuff. And he said, son, you've had quite the life in your young age. How did you do it? And I said, because I made a commitment early on that I was going to be the smartest person in the room. He said, well, that's awful big commitment. I said, no, sir, I didn't tell you a time frame. He started laughing. I said, I'm just going to be the smartest person in the room at some point in my life. The only way I can get to be the smartest person in the room is to commit and to build competence in that area. See, in order to cultivate high competency, you have to show up every day, be ready for work. You got to keep learning. You got to grow. You've got to follow through with excellence. When you find something that is just above normal, you've got to continue to do it. You've got to accomplish more than you've ever set out, and you've got to inspire and motivate others. That is competence. Number 6 is courage. A Swiss theologian by the name of Karl Barth said, "Courage is fear that has said its prayers." Eddie Rickenbacker said, "Courage is doing what you're afraid to do." There can be no courage unless you're scared. Have you ever been scared? I've been scared to death sometimes. But yet somehow along the way you muster up the time, you muster up the courage to move forward. Perhaps no other quote do I love more than Eleanor Roosevelt. She said, "You gain strength, courage, and confidence in every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face." You're able to say, quote, "I lived through this horror, and I can take the next thing that comes along." You then must do the thing that you cannot do. We've all been there, haven't we? We've all accomplished things. I don't care how old you are. You've accomplished something that you can look back and said, man, that was tough. So no matter what this world throws at you as a business owner, you can accomplish it. I was on the phone with a business owner a while ago, just broken now. This business owner just broken. And they called me and they said, "I'm sorry for calling." I said, "No, friend, let me encourage you for a second." I said, number one, God's got this. I believe that God has everything completely where he wants it. I believe that. That's my core being. I said, number one, God's got this. Number two, you've gone through worse, haven't you? Well, yeah. All right. Let's pick ourselves up. Let's have a little faith and let's move forward. It will work out. Sometimes we just need to have a little bit of courage. We have to rest on what's already been accomplished. The seventh key indisputable fact is discernment. Discernment. Smart leaders believe only half of what they hear. Discerning leaders know which half to believe. And that's John Maxwell. And I think he's right on that. You know, so many times we are approached with information. Discernment is knowing what to believe. Effective leaders need discernment. Although good leaders don't display it at times. We've all made our mistakes, right? Thomas Watson, chairman of IBM, said, "I think there is a world market for about 5 computers." Yeah, that was the chairman of IBM. Wow. Here we are some years later. Jimmy Hoffa, 1 month before he disappeared that no one knows, he says, "I don't need bodyguards." No one still knows where Jimmy Hoffa is. So we all need to have discernment. We've all open mouth, insert foot. We've all done that. But we work on discernment. We must. Number 8 is focus. We have to focus. The sharper our focus is, the sharper we are. The key is priorities in concentration. Some people say priorities and concentration. I think you have to have your priorities while you're concentrating in the concentration. We have to prioritize. I've said this the last couple of episodes. Leaders know how to get the top, simplest things that the organization needs to accomplish in front of their team. And they trust them. But if you can't concentrate on your priorities, then you don't know excellence. You don't know how to get to excellence. Okay? When you can harness both priorities and concentration, you have the ability to accomplish unbelievable things. Unbelievable things. When I think of priorities and concentration, I think of a golfer, to me. How many times have we watched the golfer? Yeah, the people hold up shush signs on the side, but they get up there and they make a putt they had to do. Or maybe a basketball player who just made that game-winning free throw. Unbelievable concentration. But the priority was make it. Now, it doesn't mean if you fail in that, you're not involved. Whenever you come to priorities, I found this in John Maxwell's book. He said, just focus 70% on your strengths. You want to develop your strengths. That's the way God made you. He made you in those areas. Focus on your strengths. Then you focus 25% of your time on the new things. That's growth and change. And then 5% of the time on the areas of weakness. You want to minimize your areas of weakness as much as possible through delegation. That is one of the weakest things that business owners have is we do not delegate. We want to try to focus on our weakness. No, delegate it out. Focus on your strengths and hire the people who have your weaknesses. That is what a business owner is to do. So we focus. Number 9, we're generous. We're generous. I thought this was an amazing saying inside the book. Your candle loses nothing when it lights another. Think about it. You could have 2 candles up and you light one and your candle's still lit. Calvin Coolidge, our president, said no person was ever honored for what he received. Honor has been the reward for what he gave. That's amazing to me. You've never been honored for what you receive. No, you give it away. You give it away. And so we start every day off with generosity, with gratitude. The attitude of gratitude. Gratitude matters. There was a talk show host in our town named Halloran Hilton Hill forever, and he says things a little different. He would say, today is a blank canvas. He says, start this day out with joy, wonder, and enthusiasm. With gratitude, joy, wonder, enthusiasm. Every time he says use gratitude, I'm happy, I'm grateful. So you be grateful for what you have. I'm teaching my children this principle right now. We always say, I wish I. And I said, we're not going to say that. I'm not going to say, I wish I. We're going to say, Lord, thank you for what you've given me. Thank you for the people in my life. Thank you for the food we have today. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I've met a guy by the name of Stephen Scott. He's a published author, a very, very successful individual. And he and I were talking. He said, son, when I go to the airport, someone looks at me. They say, well, sir, how's your day? And they don't know me from Adam's house cat. He said, when I look at them, I say, you're looking at the most gracious and thankful person that you've ever met in your life. I said, really? He said, I will say that I am the most grateful person they've ever met in your life. And then sometimes they'll say, well, why? And he says, because I have the opportunity, and just starts bragging on what things that God's given him. So we be grateful for what we have. We put people first. We don't allow the possessions to control us. We regard our money that we receive, we regard it as a resource. We give away. We give. There's an old saying that says, life is not about get all you can all you get, and set on your can. That's not what life's about. It's about being able to use the abilities and the skills that we have to encourage others. That's what a leader does.
You are listening to Financially Simple, destroying the complexities of money for today's small business owner.
A leader also deals with initiatives. Conrad Hilton, which you should recognize that name, the Hilton Hotels, said, success seems to be connected with action. Successful people keep moving. They make mistakes, but they don't quit. We have initiative. Whenever you recognize a person who has initiative, we often say in the South, they just make things happen. They're just able to get things to work. What you'll notice about them is they know what they want. And they push themselves. They work out that 1 hour longer. They read that extra book. They work that extra hour. They spend that much more time with their family. They push themselves to act. They take on more risk. And with every risk, they're going to make a lot of mistakes. It's just going to happen, but they're not going to quit. That's the quality of a leader. So let me ask you, are you pushing yourself? Do you know what you're after? Do you know why you're after it? Leaders listen. We've all heard that we have 2 ears, 1 mouth, right? You're like, Justin, you sure talk a lot. We have to be silent to listen. Interestingly enough, if you spell out silent and you spell out listen, the same letters form both words. The ear of a leader must ring with the voice of the people, said Woodrow Wilson. He said that. John Maxwell put it this way, a good leader encourages followers to tell him what he needs to know, not what he wants to hear. Are you listening? Are you listening to what people are telling you? If you keep your ear out, you might actually find some secrets to success in that for your particular area. And then passion. Take this life and love it. You know, people say, take this job in. No, take life and live it. Love it. Life's short. Here we go. I'm telling you, if you know John, the founder of Papa John's, I would love to be sponsored by Papa John's. Concentrate on what you do well and do it better than anybody else. I love that. I love that because that's passion. What makes it possible for people who might seem ordinary to achieve great things? Why can they do it? More than 50% of all CEOs of Fortune 500 companies were C averages in colleges. This is according to John Maxwell here. Nearly 75% of presidents were in the bottom half of their high schools. More than 50% of millionaire entrepreneurs never finished college. What makes it different is they were passionate. They were passionate. They knew what they wanted. They didn't give up. They did what they loved to do, and they did it well, and they did it better than anybody else. You know, with all that passion, though, number 13 is you have to have a positive attitude. Your attitude is your choice. I remember my youth leader telling me that the first time. He said, your attitude is your choice. We have the attitude of gratitude. We talked about that already. But many times today, we run into many people entering the workforce who just are spoiled, rotten brats. I'll be candid about it. We all met them. Our attitude is our choice. Your attitude determines your actions. I heard one person say, your attitude determines your altitude. Your attitude that you have determines how far you'll go. I don't remember where I heard that. People are a mirror of your attitude. How about that one? I love that statement. People are a mirror of your attitude. And maintaining a good attitude is easier than regaining one. Those are all John Maxwell's quotes. I love them. I think that's outstanding because a leader recognizes a positive attitude. Thomas Edison said, genius is 99% perspiration and 1% inspiration, because he realized it's hard work. Thomas Edison said, if we did all the things we were capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves. Think about that. Thomas Edison, one of the most popular inventors of all time. He also said, many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success and gave up. Friends, you today. Maybe you're discouraged about your business. Don't give up. Keep a positive attitude. You can accomplish it. Remember, we will win. That's one of our core ethos. We're not going to stop. That is the attitude of a leader. Number 14 is your problem solving. John Maxwell said in his book, you can measure a leader by the problems he tackles. He's always looking for ones his own size. If it's a big problem, it's a big leader. If it's a small problem, he's not a very good leader. I love that saying. Leaders with good problem-solving abilities demonstrate 5 qualities. They anticipate the problem. They accept the truth. They see a big picture. They handle one thing at a time. They don't give up on the major goal when they're down. They don't give up. That's the things that leaders deal with. Another thing that leaders deal with is relationships. You get along and you get along. Theodore Roosevelt, I have a statement on my wall, and it says, the most important single ingredient in the formula of success is knowing how to get along with people. Yes, I have to tell myself that every day. I have a hard time liking people, mostly because I am one people, and I realize I have a hard time liking myself sometimes. All people have some things in common. We want to feel special. We do. We want a better tomorrow. We desire direction. We are selfish. We are low emotionally, and we want success. So, in order to do that, we have to compliment people. We have to show hope. There's hope. We have to navigate. We have to show them how to accomplish their goals. We speak about them first before we talk about ourselves. We encourage others, and we show them how to win. Friends, you're a business owner. You are a rock star. You can accomplish your goals. Don't quit. 16 is leaders are responsible. We know responsibility. A leader will not let you outwork them. They will not let you carry the ball. They will not let you carry the ball if you can't lead a team. Michael Cardona, the editor-in-chief of Simon & Schuster, said, success on any major scale requires you to accept responsibility. In the final analysis, the one quality that all successful people have is the ability to take on responsibility. Gilbert Arlen said, when an archer misses the mark, he turns and looks for fault with himself. Failure to hit the bullseye is never the fault of the target. To improve your aim, improve yourself. That is the results of responsibility. We're secure within ourselves. Andrew Carnegie said, no man will make a great leader who wants to do it all himself and all the credit for doing it. That's Andrew Carnegie talking about security. We realize that other people around us can help us. Margaret Thatcher, which is an unbelievable world leader, said, if you don't follow the crowd, you make up your own mind. That's the word she heard from her father. She stood for conviction leadership. She was the Iron Lady. Think about it. Was elected 3 consecutive terms as prime minister and was the only British leader of the modern era to achieve a great honor. Number 18 is self-discipline. I love this chapter in the book. He said, the first person you lead is you. John Foster put it this way, a man without direction of character can never be said to belong to himself. He belongs to whatever can make captive of himself. Jerry Rice, a wide receiver, some people would argue the best wide receiver ever, said don't quit. Because once you're in the mode of quitting, then you feel that it's okay. Self-discipline. Part of being a business owner is we have to be disciplined. We have to be disciplined to get up in the morning because no one tells us to. We have to be disciplined to get the job done when no one else is looking. We have to be disciplined to take care of ourselves, our family, and all those people who are relying on us. Number 19 is servanthood. Albert Schweitzer said, I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I know, the ones among you who will be really happy are those who have sought and found how to serve. I don't know what will be your destiny. The ones among you who will be really happy are those who have sought and found how to serve. Think about that. See, a true leader serves. We use the term today in our modern era of servant leadership. Even in the preaching world, we call it servant leadership. Mutual submission, some people would say. We're leading through service. You have to be a servant. You have to be a servant to your team, to those around you who you impact. Number 20 is leaders must be teachable. You can't be leading if you're not learning. John Wooden, who was the famous basketball coach, said, "Is what you've learned after you know it all that counts." Have you ever been there? Have you ever thought you knew it all? I can tell you one time my dad and I were talking, thought I knew how to accomplish something, and he said, "Son, there's a better way." And he showed me. I was like, "Oh, you're kidding me. I'd already known this." It's what we learn afterwards. So we should keep growing, but why? Well, your growth determines who you are. Your growth determines who you attract. Your growth determines the success of your organization. If you want your organization to grow, you have to remain teachable. How, are you learning still? If you're not, are you a leader? And then number 21 is vision. A great leader's courage to fulfill his purpose comes with passion, not position. John Maxwell himself said that. And vision is everything for a leader. It leads the leader. It paints the target. It sparks the fuel. It's also the fire that others will follow, is vision. So friends, with that, that is the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. How'd you track up? I don't know about you. As I'm reading this, as after I wrote this and read through the book and found these different points here, I'm pretty amazed at how sometimes a weak leader I am. And there's so many areas I need to be improved. Walt Disney said it best, though. If you dream it, you can do it. Hey guys, that's it for this episode on Financially Simple. Check out the blog, financiallysimple.com. While you're there, signing up for our newsletter. We've got a lot of folks signing up for the newsletter now. Some of my best writings, friends. Some of the best writing I do goes out in the newsletter once a week. It's short, sweet. It doesn't take you very long. One other thing we're doing now is you may want to sign up on social media. We've got some live events going out on social media now. Sign up and check it out. You'll see it on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We've got them everywhere right now. So, like I say every week, life is hard. Life is frustrating and life can be complicated sometimes. Money doesn't have to be. Let's continue to make our lives at least financially simple. Hey, y'all go out and make it a great day.
You have been listening to the Financially Simple podcast. The information in this show is for informational purposes only. This show is not investment advice. Instead, seek help from a competent financial advisor. Justin Goodbread, CFP, is an investment advisor representative of Heritage Investors, a registered investment advisor.